Welcome back to the most popular session in Casual Connect history. This is the Evil Game Design Challenge. My name is Scott Foe. I was part of the team that designed and launched the Sega Dreamcast. Then the Nokia N-Gage, which everyone knows was the most awesomely horrible game device ever created. You actually had to take the battery out to put a game in. And most recently founded Big Head Mode Entertainment, which my co-founders and I sold to Play First in July. And at Big Head Mode, we did the game Douche Defender, where you are a girl in a bar and a bunch of guys are hitting on you. And Giant Bomb called it the most important simulation of human drama ever made. But back in 2005, I started my first free-to-play game project, which was Reset Generation, and that was mobile free-to-play and web free-to-play, cross-platform, multi-platform. Man, I love that game. And getting funding for a free game in 2005, people were like, man, you're crazy. That is nuts. And I thought, that's okay, because someday they're going to think I'm really cool, like James Bond. I was so cool to do free-to-play, but that's not how the industry views us. You get to 2008, they think we're fucking evil, man. You ever talk to people from the core industry? They're like, you guys are so evil. Oh my God, you're so exploitative. I would never treat players that way. It's nasty. On Kotaku, after the first Evil Game Design Challenge, one of the Kotaku readers said, why does this challenge exist? It's like practicing punching babies, which is a good idea. We might add that to the next Casual Connect USA, the baby punching. And just a note to the Kotaku readers, yes, my name really is Scott Foe. I know it sounds like a made-up name like Dr. Doom, but my parents were pretty prescient. They wanted an evil game designer for a child. Now, here is how the Evil Game Design Challenge works. You have 3 challengers, a secret theme. Only the challengers got to know the theme very recently. No one else gets to know. 3 designs, and the designs have to be real evil. You've got to be tuning for monetization, retention, re-engagement, LTVs, CPAs, man, you know, all the good KPIs. And in Amsterdam, they got some really good KPIs, I'm telling you. And the audience, you guys, you decide who is the most evil game designer. And there is a fabulous prize. It's the Casual Games Association White Cat Award for Excellence in Game Design. Every supervillain needs a white cat, right? So the conference asked us to dress like supervillains. We have 3 supervillains here today. Let's meet them. This is the bad man. Okay, this is the guy, in talking to the other contestants, they're actually a bit afraid of Ben Cousins. He was at Lionhead, he was at Sony PlayStation. He was the executive producer of a little game called Battlefield. And he also was the executive producer of Battlefield Heroes, which was the free-to-play shooter game. And now he's the head of studios for Europe for a small Japanese concern called DNA, making free-to-play tablet games like The Drowning. He is a free-to-play super genius and super villain. Ben, what villain are you dressed as today?
Today I'm dressed as Daniel Plainview from There Will Be Blood.
And can we hear an evil laugh, Ben? That's scary. Laralyn MCWILLIAMS. Laralyn MCWILLIAMS is so evil that in 2006, she did Free Realms, which is a free-to-play game for children. Now, how evil is that? Laralyn, what is your supervillain costume?
So it's hard to dress as GLaDOS, so I'm wearing my Aperture Science shirt in her honor.
This is a triumph.
This was a triumph.
There you go. And can we hear your evil laugh, Laralyn?
GLaDOS doesn't really laugh.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough.
But I have to say, it's harder to be more evil with A/B tests than dumping your test subjects into vats of acid.
Yes, true. And defying the host is pretty evil, I will say. So, lastly, we have Teut WEIDEMANN, the guy who probably needs no introduction. In Europe, I'm going to give him one anyways because I wouldn't miss the honor. He is absolutely a free-to-play super genius. He can just look at a game and know all of its KPIs just by eyeballing it. And right now, he works for Ubisoft, doing very evil things. Teut, what is your costume here?
I'm actually an in-game villain. I'm the 14-year-old jet jockey of Battlefield who snipes, soldiers, which I hate and admire.
And can we hear your evil laugh? If it were an evil laugh contest, I think Teut would win. Costume contest, I'm going to go with Ben. The secret theme, ladies and gentlemen. Minecraft. Take Minecraft, a game which is beloved by all, and turn it into an evil, free-to-play experience with a focus on retention, engagement, acquisition, re-engagement, and most of all, draining the players of all of their money. The contestants drew lots before the challenge began, and we will start with Mr. Ben Cousins. Ben.
Just going to move the mic up a little bit higher there, Scott. So I'm dressed as Daniel Plainview. This is the lead character in a movie by Paul Thomas Anderson called There Will Be Blood. This is my favorite movie villain. He's also a miner. He spends the whole first 15 minutes of the movie in this kind of dialogue-free sequence where he's mining for silver, breaks his legs, and then crawls back into town to make the money that he's found in the mine. And I thought that was a really great character to use for the Evil Game Design Challenge. I'm only going to talk about survival mode. I haven't got time to talk about how I would monetize creative mode for Minecraft. So let's talk about the evil version of Minecraft. What is survival mode in Minecraft? In it, you explore an open, procedurally generated world, and in that world, you mine for resources. And the stuff that you mine for can then be crafted into stuff, and that stuff makes you more powerful. And then you can do other ancillary things like fight mobs, fight enemies, trade with villagers, and there's kind of a light end game that some people try and engage with. And there's also a strong multiplayer component to Minecraft, and a lot of people don't realize that. What elements of Minecraft are good for free-to-play? Well, the simple basic human concept of surviving in an environment and trying to build yourself up from nothing is very, very compelling, and I think is key to the success of the product. In terms of a short-term retention mechanics, there's a very compelling core loop of, oh, I need this thing, and then once I've got that thing, I can craft it into another thing, and then that makes me more powerful, and that enables me to get another thing. And these kind of short and medium-term goal settings make the game extremely compelling and addictive. In terms of live support for a free-to-play game, you need lots of content, but you don't want to be building all that content because it's expensive. So the procedurally generated nature of the worlds in Minecraft is extremely good for free-to-play. Any game where there's limited resources and where there's demand for those resources from players is extremely good for monetization, and Minecraft has this in bags. And the fact that there is a multiplayer component in Minecraft makes it good for long-term retention, because engaging people in communities, in competition and in cooperation is a fantastic way of holding people engaged in a game. What elements of Minecraft are bad for free-to-play? Well, there's a very steep learning curve, particularly on the PC and Mac version. It's very difficult to understand what to do and to know what you're going to do next. There's a lack of player direction and context as you start to play, and you've played for a few hours. Like, what am I supposed to do now? I've built a home, I've done some mining, what do I do next? Multiplayer can be quite complex and unforgiving. It's difficult to get into servers, difficult to find servers, and when you're in servers, you can get your ass kicked. So there's a potential churn point as you enter multiplayer in the current version of Minecraft. And I would argue that the progress that you make from being that guy with nothing to being a guy with a diamond sword and diamond armor is a little bit too fast for a free-to-play game. You can do that in a matter of days. Free-to-play games, you need to be able to get to your end goal in a matter of months or even years. Are there any Minecraft genre games that have made improvements to the game as it stands? Yes. There's a great game called The Blockheads on mobile. I don't know if you have played this. I've played this a lot and spent quite a bit of money on it. This is has a lot of the core mechanics from Minecraft, but it's 2D, and you're not directly controlling the player character. They're kind of like The Sims. You can send them around and have them doing tasks. I'd recommend you try this game. It's free, obviously. It's much simpler and easier to understand than Minecraft. The key monetization is crafting takes time. There is a progress bar for everything that you craft. And you can spend money, you can do a one-shot speed up, so you can speed up that one particular crafting mechanic, or you can buy a permanent upgrade so all of your crafting is 2 times faster. It's very cool. There's also a multiplayer mode that's quite popular in standard Minecraft called Raid PvP with factions. And in this, there's a very clear player goal, which is to fight other players for resources. You're in a map together, and there's resources in the environment, and you want to try and get the best stuff. It's a persistent conflict. These servers run and run and run. And you can hide your stuff in caves and hope no one gets it. And because this competition and competitive nature of the game really fosters collaboration between players, and they tend to form into factions. And there's also player-to-player trading. So this solves some of the issues with long-term player goal and with multiplayer. So let's mash those 2 games together, shall we? I just realized I can turn the brightness up. So, Minecraft, free factions. This is my game. I'm going to improve user acquisition. I'm going to have complete feature parity between the web version and the mobile version. And I'm going to focus really hard on the web version, because I want people to be able to get onto the website and start playing immediately. And there's already a version that runs in the browser. Improve that registration flow so that you can get an account easier and faster. Improve the browser support so that you can get into the game easier without having to install a whole bunch of things. And also I want to involve parents early, because happy parents who've been engaged in their children's game are more likely to approve purchases. Here's an example of how the front screen for Minecraft Free Factions might work. The game is sitting there front and center. You can click in it and you can start playing. It's very simple. Let's look at the game mechanics then. For the early game, I want to improve retention by adding a tutorial, a fully featured, free-to-play style tutorial which leads players gradually through the game mechanics. I also want to create a sense of a bigger world. Rather than you just being plonked into the environment, I want players to have this sense that they've been shipwrecked on an island and that they need to get back to their friends, to their faction. You're not going to lose your items on death. I don't know if you know, but in survival mode, if you die, your items are left in the environment and you have a certain amount of time to go and collect them. I'm going to put your items in a chest or something if you die. I'm also going to simplify crafting, and I'll show you how that works. But here's an example, a little character leading you through the game. Great, now I'll try and find some stone. How about you build a pickaxe? We're all familiar with these mission-based tutorials in free-to-play games. This is the crafting menu for the console versions of Minecraft. Rather than you having to discover the crafting recipes, you can see everything that's possible to be crafted, and you can see the recipe that's required to craft that thing. So this is something I'm going to steal. How am I going to monetize in the early game? Players actually monetize in free-to-play games earlier than you would think. In our last game, The Drowning, 25% of the people who ever start spending 20 minutes into the experience. At that point, there's no purchase pressure on them at all in terms of game mechanics. They're spending money because they just like the game. So I'm creating a new resource called iridium, and this is what an iridium block looks like. It's a very, very rare metal. And you can buy ingots of iridium for cash, for real money. You can also mine it. It's available in the environment. It's very, very rare, but you can also mine it. And during the tutorial, you find some iridium. So everyone starts the game with some of this premium currency. I'm going to put a big-ass timer on crafting. And I'm going to put a big-ass button for people to speed that up with my premium currency. So this changes the nature of a crafting bench. It's no longer a tool that you use to make things. It's a machine that you can set off to create things. So you go up to a crafting bench. If you've got the right stuff, make me a diamond sword. That's going to take you 25 minutes. So you can go off and do something else. Or you can maybe have a whole bunch of crafting benches around the environment and have them set off creating different things for you. You can buy a consumable speed up, which will speed up that one particular crafting event. But you can also buy timed crafting speed up. So you can speed up all of your crafting for 1 day, for 1 week, for 1 hour, for 1 year. Everyone hates night in the early game for Minecraft, so I'm going to have a big fat button saying skip to morning, and that's going to be a premium purchase. In the early to mid game then, how am I going to retain people? The player learns of a war amongst factions on other islands. There's a sense of something happening outside of the world that you're playing in at the moment, and you have the option to continue playing solo, kind of traditional Minecraft survival mode, or you can go and join this battle. You have to craft a boat to leave the island, and that boat is a key kind of bump that you need to overcome to get into multiplayer. And the boat parts are rare. So in the blockheads, the boats are created. You have to weave a sail. It's much more difficult to build a boat than it is in standard Minecraft. So I would probably create something like that. There's some particularly difficult thing that you need to find to craft that boat. So here's that your helper character saying, build a boat and you can go to war. How am I going to monetize in this early mid-game? Well, I'm going to create resource gathering speeds up. So if you a really good pickaxe or a really good spade or a really good hatchet will have an iridium component. One of those crafting slots will need iridium into it. I'm going to create detector items so you can find rare metals, you can find rare gems, and you can find rare creatures and rare plants with a detector. And those detector items can only be crafted with an iridium component. And of course, the crafting speed-ups from the early game will continue to be used by players as they start to try and accrue resources to either dominate their little island or to get that boat to go to war. Let's talk about the late mid-game. If you opt to leave your island, you visit war zone islands. These are multiplayer-focused war zones. This is where persistent conflict takes place between player factions. So think about raid PvP, but integrated directly into the game as part of the player story. Warlike players in this particular mode can enter these very large multiplayer battles. Think Battlefield, where they can take on specific roles. You can be a medic, you can be an archer, you can be a barbarian. You go into combat and you fight in large-scale battles. And what you're trying to do there is win loot from the enemy. Maybe raid their bases and take their rare stuff, kill people and take their rare stuff. And also, of course, you're risking your stuff and your base in the process of taking part in these battles. If you're not a warlike player, you can stay back home. You can trade. You can trade the stuff that the guys bring back from battle. You can create things. You can build and craft. Be a farmer, build fortifications. You can mine, and you can create resources, craft clothes, create weapons to kind of fund the economy of this persistent conflict. So, large-scale multiplayer and persistent base building and trading on these warzone islands. How are we monetizing here? Well, you can buy specific special items from NPCs with Iridium. Iridium will buy you special weapons which are better than all of the other weapons that you can craft. You can get better armor and you can get power-ups for combat. You can also buy things that will build faster and build better structures, which will gather resources better and which will craft things faster and better. There will also be exclusive visual customization items only available with Iridium in this mode. So if you want to walk around with a horse head, you can do that, but you'll have to spend money. What's the end game about? The end game is about faction leadership and management. This is where the very highly engaged whale players, they step back from the real-time gameplay and they're about directing the course of the war. They want to become the top faction and dominate the entire environment. We're monetizing them with leadership tools which have a very high Iridium cost. So if you want to create a homepage or a forum for your faction, if you want to send out newsletters, all of this is going to have Iridium costs. If you want to create customized clothing for your faction, everyone can have the same emblem on their clothing or on their flags, that's got an Iridium cost. And there are base protection and management skills. So you can automate the construction of certain things in your environment, the repair of certain things in your base. And you can, let's say the whole faction are on holiday in the month of August, you can spend a large Iridium cost to protect your base while everyone's away. We're obviously assuming that these faction wars and the management of them will drive heavy monetization at the resource gathering, building, and crafting and combat level as well. So to recap, you start off with a browser focus and a parity with the mobile version. In the early game, we create a tutorial and we have crafting slowdowns and speed-ups. In the early to mid-game, we have a sense of progression and a player goal to drive the player forward and to retain them. In the late mid-game, we have this optional multiplayer war, which we hope the highly engaged players will get involved with. And in that end game, we've got whales running factions and spending thousands and thousands of dollars a month. The player journey then, they begin surviving alone on this island, then they escape, they become a warrior or they take part in a war, and then they have the option to rule, and that ruling can carry on forever. But if you think about it, those two other elements of the game, survival and fighting, can also carry on forever. Thank you.
I'm going to test the audio real quick. We should be hearing this. Is the audio working? Because without audio, mine will be really dumb. Is it working? Okay. You're hearing the game? I mean, you're hearing from the machine? Okay. So we'll see. When we get to the first one, we'll see. Is it a separate presentation? Right here? There we go. All right. So when I started thinking about making a free-to-play game out of Minecraft, I thought about what makes Minecraft already have great retention with the people who play it. Because the people who play Minecraft tend to stick with it for a very long time. And for me, the key, or at least one of them, is in that word mine. When you think about Minecraft, it's all about expressing yourself. Where you go, what you do, what your avatar looks like, what you build are all specific to you. And the theme of self-expression is one that you'll see in some of the examples throughout this presentation. So I'd make some fundamental changes to the game to help it as a free-to-play game. So this actually goes toward all of the metrics, toward retention, toward monetization, toward acquisition, toward all of these things. So this is the first change that I'd make. And here's where we'll see if we actually have audio. No. So I'm sorry, I have to pause because it's not going to make any sense without audio. If you can't hear it, it doesn't work. Whoa, look at that. Keynote quit unexpectedly. Ben, do you know where you put it? There we go. So let me see, if I can't, I can try to describe it, but it's music. So if you can't hear it, it actually is not going to, this isn't going to work very well. Is there an audio connection? Sorry. It's not coming through though for some reason, because you should hear that. Sorry. Yes. There we go. I'm hearing it here, but I'm not hearing it out there. It's not perfect, but we'll hear it at least. So I'll try that. Okay, sorry about that. Let me start again. Okay. I'm trying to scroll back up now. There we go. All right. So hopefully this audio will come through. If it doesn't, I'll describe it. So that's the first thing I change is definitely shared space. So every player comes into a shared server with other players because playing Minecraft by yourself isn't just lonely, you're much less likely to monetize unless you're in a social environment, especially when it's a game about self-expression and about building things to show off. You start to lose your impetus to build things to show off if there's no one to show it to. So every server is a community. You can travel to other servers, but one server is your home, and that enables you to meet other people because we know players who are in social organizations and are in social groups monetize better. You can see that in games like Clash of Clans. So every player, when they start, gets a big section of land. The land is bigger than he needs to build on because there's buffer space. You unlock it one block at a time as you play, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later on. There's also public space. So this is, you can see in this shot to the right of the wall is the player space, to the left of the wall is public space. The public space regenerates on a schedule. This is an appointment mechanic. So you know the public space has regenerated all of its resources at a certain time, so you log back in. And yes, that is competitive. Another fundamental change I would make is being able to rate other players' buildings. And the reason that I would let you rate other players' structures and buildings and creations is because I'm thinking about how you get into the game. You'll see that in a second. Another key thing is that I wouldn't change anything. You can build everything that you can build now in the game, you can build in this for free. There's nothing stopping you from building the most advanced thing in the game. There's also no paying to get ahead. I think one thing that's important in Minecraft is that when you see something spectacular another player has done, you understand the work that he put into it. And I think if you lose that sense of work, seeing grand creations is less impressive. So like Ben, and it's going to be interesting to see where we do the same things. Like Ben, I would focus on easy entry into the game. And as I started to think about how can I make it easier to get in the game, I came up with something that I call Minecraft Gateway, which is actually a perfect name for the function that it plays. So Minecraft Gateway is a website where you can browse servers. And when you look at a server, you can see if you've logged in through Facebook or Twitter or Google Plus or other social networks, you can see how many friends are on that server. So you can join a server where you already have friends. Once you find a server you want to join, one click and you're playing the game. So we want to get you in as quickly as possible. You can also teleport directly to friends to see their creations, so you don't have to wander all over the world to try to find them. So yes, this is a shared world, so there's intense competition for those public resources intentionally. It means anyone can go anywhere, and by default, unless you do some things I'll talk about later, anyone can edit anything even on other people's lands. And yes, I know what that means.
I don't know if you know why I need to grieve so bad. I don't know if you know why I'm spawning on your map. I don't know if you know where all these boats and cards are from, but now you start to laugh. Food is now mine. I'll wreck your stuff and watch your health go on a decline. I'll make you think that we are friends and then I'll smash your design. I'm sorry you don't like it, I'm a griefer. Damn, NPC, we about to grief you.
So yes, griefing is a part of the game. When you look at how people interact with each other in a social environment, if you take out griefing and you make it impossible, you take away half the game of Minecraft. So this is part of the economy, and I'll build it into monetization in a minute. So I'd have a single currency, I'm calling it mine coins. You get mine coins by selling resources directly from your inventory. If you craft them into stuff, you'll sell it for more. Now this is the bargain basement rate. This is the baseline grind. There's also an auction house. Selling it on the auction house to other players is probably going to make you more. We always price things from your inventory at less than you would make on the auction house. And we want to do that because it encourages socialization, but also because the house takes a cut. We're keeping the pressure on this currency. This is the single currency. We want to keep the friction on it. We want to keep you monetizing. You can also make and sell blueprints. It doesn't build something for somebody, but if you built something spectacular, you can save it as a blueprint and sell that in the store too. You can even sell real estate. So if you built something spectacular on your land, you can sell your whole block of land and then go find another one and sell what you just made to somebody else. So how do we make money off of this? When does this occur? Well, there's several ways. First, and most obviously, boosts. We're keeping pressure on that premium currency. So we'll sell a premium currency boost so that you can actually earn it more quickly in the game, along with health boosts and other things like that. You start with a small section. You get a big section of land, but you start with a very small sector of it unlocked. You unlock more sectors over time with those Minecraft coins. And of course, it's progressive costs to unlock more, so we're keeping the pressure on that currency to get you buying boosts. Another way that we make money off of you by keeping pressure on that currency is through upkeep, through rent. So the more space you've unlocked, the more you have weekly upkeep. The more you've expanded, the more things you built on that space, the more you have upkeep. The more restrictions you have on your space, the more you pay upkeep. So this is where you can say, I don't want some jackass coming in and editing my space. You're going to pay for that in your monthly upkeep costs. You can also, for real currency, prepay those costs. So if you don't want to have to log in every week and keep the assholes off of your land, you can prepay in advance with real currency to do that. We would have unique avatars that you could purchase as well. Some would be available for Minecraft coins, some would be available for real dollars. For real dollars, you can also import your own art. So you can import your own avatar from wherever that you'd like. You can pay real cash for exclusivity, and this is where you can have a private server that you run in creative mode if you'd like. You can change the options, you can invite only your friends to it, you can run your own world, but that takes cash. You can also pay real money for convenience, so you can use the auction house, for example, on your phone, and things like that, just to streamline for the power players, the people who want to have a lot of transactions and are very active. But I think of all the things that I sell, there would be two that would be the most important, and this is the first one.
I've left my home day after day. My mind is top dry. No diamonds to mine. Found only coal and iron too. For my dream I'll never stop mining, and I will succeed. We are the miners, my friend.
So it's really important that you be able to get additional resources. So you can, for cash, buy a portal seed, which is a private, non-regenerating world that you can enter for a limited time. This is gotcha for resources. So you're basically rolling the dice and hoping you'll get what you're looking for every time you start a world. You can pay a little bit more for an increasing chance of rare spawns by buying specific portals, like a redstone portal. Doesn't mean it'll have a lot of redstone, but you're increasing the chances that it will. So essentially, by paying money, you can grow in a portal the world that you want to see. And then I think this is the most important thing that we could sell.
Okay, Harry, I want to go get rid of this flint steel. What? No! No! Where's my water? Okay. No!
My house is on fire. My house is on fire.
Close my door.
So the same system that lets you sell blueprints will let you insure your home and everything in it, so that when griefers come or the whole thing sets on fire, you can restore it from your last blueprint. So those are the things that I would do with Minecraft as a free-to-play.
So going last is tough. I find it amazing how obvious it is to actually monetize Minecraft. What is this? Yeah. Because the ideas are really similar, which is cool. So I wonder why we haven't done that yet, really. For me, Minecraft is an ultimate creation tool. I have 4 kids. They all play Minecraft. One of the birthday wishes of one of my kids when he was 13 was a Minecraft server. Birthday wish, Minecraft server. No, that's cool. So I actually, call it Evil Minecraft. This is actually something I took from the internet. So there is a mod called Evil Minecraft. It has a different topic, but still I found the title cool. And for me, if you look at Minecraft, what it really is, for me, it's 3 things. Well, there's no talk without a cat, right? It's a box, and you want in, and you can create, and there are 3 things there. It's a sandbox. Sandbox means that it's basically a section of mechanics, and you can do whatever you want, and you can do fantastic creations. It's a survival game. Survival means that you can die. There's some sort of bad feedback. Basically, if you don't have a home and it's night, the zombies come and kill you. That's like the original Minecraft. And for me, the main mode of Minecraft is online. Single player is like, no one wants to play that. Most people want to play online with their friends and create and share. And of course, and that's something, not many people do, is that it's completely moddable. The whole thing, it's like an endless sea of mods out there, and one is better than the other. And if you take a look at this, I thought, where should we monetize most out of the player without destroying the soul of Minecraft? And this is basically survival. I'm going to use that. That survival is my key mechanic to actually get money out of the player for, let's face it, a free game. But I will keep sandbox and online like it is and actually enhance it, extend it. So The sandbox itself, if you just take a look at that, is the ultimate creation tool. It is the reason why Lego is worried about Minecraft, because Minecraft is now more popular than Lego. And that's one of the reasons why I won't touch the sandbox. I don't want to limit the sandbox in terms of, timers, limit creations, limit worlds or whatever, because I don't want to touch that magic. That magic should be, untouched. And that's something what I envision when I design free-to-play games, is that, don't touch the core loop with monetization. The core loop should be fun. This is it. So don't touch it with any money retention or any other metric-driven monetization. But it's actually okay to slightly modify it or level it here and there, and you will see how that works. The other thing is that we at Ubisoft are a big fan of requirements, meaning that we have a set of rules we apply to every game, and this is just a small section of it. So basically, we say unlimited free-to-play, so there are no restrictions. No restrictions, no paywalls. You can play as long as you like without paying. We don't care. There should be no obvious disadvantage to the non-paying and paying player. There should be no obvious disadvantage to the non-paying player regarding to the paying player. And I really say obvious, because there might be hidden things like progression acceleration. We demand dual currency, because dual currency is basically the safe bet on your business. You should never give the currency you earn money with to the player's control, because it might actually backfire. And it also allows us to sell pay-to-win items, which now sound really strange. But if you allow, like Ben said, the user to grind premium currency in the game, non-paying users can buy pay-to-win items by just investing time. And suddenly, there's no pay-to-win anymore. And all successful free-to-play games, or most of them, actually do that. What I would change a lot is that I would make Minecraft a persistent online game, which, we all said this is a must. The reason is that purchases, items, everything the player works for have to be securely stored, and the only secure way to store that is in a persistent online world. Of course, dual type of items, provenance consumables, that's standard stuff. And the other thing we really look for is that the user has always something to spend upon, independent of his game progress, independent of his motivation. There might be a newbie player just being killed by another one, and he goes to the shop, to look for this revenge button. He just clicks and the other dies. He might really want to spend money on this, right? There's an expert player, who just has created something, and he wants to protect it, and he looks into the shop to look for something like that. There's all sorts of different motivations going to the shop to actually buy something, and you have to make sure that you actually support all of these to make maximum revenue. And of course, unlimited spending. You should never cap spending. So if there's someone, we're the good free-to-play guys, right? We whatever you spend, it's roughly €10 a week. You can't invest anymore in our game because we are like the fair guys. Don't. That doesn't work because, there are rich players out there who just, have so much money, rich dad, or maybe they're rich themselves. They don't care. They want to spend 10,000 in the first week. If you don't let them, you will lose them. I will mark monetization stuff with the $sign, the golden $sign in the future, so I will refer to that then in a second. So, first thing, dual currency. I will work on this because basically it allows us to make an economy. Economy means that, money can be produced, you can sell items, you can trade items, all that stuff which comes with economy. And the great things about economy is that it's a self-balancing system from supply and demand. And it's a player-driven thing. So it's awesome, players play the economy as well. There are players just getting rich to sell stuff to other players. They don't care about the game anymore, they just play the trade. Of course, we're monetizing the trade by putting limits on the trade, how much you can trade, and you can basically unlock that via money. Expanded crafting, crafting has to be expanded because it's, like Ben said, and Lauren as well, it's too fast. So we have to make it a little bit slower and more complex. And I would tier the stuff. So there's not just one diamond sword. There are like tier 10 swords of that. So 10 variations of it. And you can actually upgrade that, and maybe even fusion this. There's loot. Loot means that if you kill monsters, suddenly they drop stuff. And this stuff is needed for certain crafting. So you not only are digging up rare resources, you're also roaming the world, killing stuff, and to actually drop loot, the rare loot. And yes, players drop loot as well. If you kill players, you get stuff. Their stuff they carry with them. Inventory, of course, if you carry all that stuff, at some point you're full. That doesn't mean the blocks will be limited. It's just like all the resources. So you have to travel back and forth between the hotspots and your home. The next thing, of course, I'm going to play on this is actually survival. I will introduce permadeath to Minecraft. So when you're there and you create something, you gather something, you have all that stuff on your body, and you die, you respawn wherever you started, and your stuff stays where you died. And anyone can pick it up. So if you're not fast enough to go back to your body, it's gone. Of course you can protect your body with a PPD. It's a dead body protection. You can. You can insta-respawn if you click that button. Or you can insta-travel to your body if you press the other button. So lots of options if you want to. So make sure your stuff isn't lost when you die. The combat equipment, of course, becomes more important. Swords, armor, and all that stuff, magic spells, and so on, play a little bit more role. And yes, that's a little bit more RPG than many of you wish, but this is part of the challenge. Crafting becomes vital because that's where your really good armor and weapons coming from. And it's of course vital for your character progression because we don't have levels. We basically have an item-based progression system. So if you want to be really mighty, better get that really good armor sword and God knows what. And as I said, the loot from monsters are actually important for your character progression and crafting. And loot drops can of course be modified. So if you have that buff, for 2 weeks, 50% more loot drops, there's a higher chance that you get the stuff faster you want to have. And that's key here, right? If you play a lot, you just buy that buff, which lasts like for 2 weeks, and then you get increased resources, income. The next, of course, is persistent online, as I mentioned it. Basically, it saves the game state at all time. It saves all transactions, which is vital to your business for support. And basically that if I spend money, I want to have my money stored securely. My items I buy, they should never be lost. They can get stolen by other players, but please don't lose them because it's your database fault. So it's basically online play required. It's a open world PvP, meaning that anyone can kill you if he's there. Of course, in the beginner world, it doesn't really matter, so you're pretty much safe. But later on, whatever creations you do, you can get killed by other players. And here's the thing, all worlds are pretty much limited in size, of course, because otherwise, the servers will blow up. But the worlds are all connected through portals, and you see that here. So whatever world you start with, you can travel to any other world by using portals. That means, because you don't know where that portal leads, you have to basically map out the whole universe. If you want to find your friend and basically destroy his house or kill him, you have to first find on what world he is, and then use the portal travel system to go there. And of course, this can be monetized, because you can actually teleport to your friend and cooperate with him by pressing a button or paying money. You can basically go somewhere, kill someone, loot his body, and return to your home. Faster travel can be monetized. And here's the small little thing I actually have blatantly stolen from Rust. When you log out, your body stays in the world. That means you can get killed even if you're offline. So better protect your body. So you build your house, you go in there, shut the door, turn the key, and then you log off. But always when you're not playing the game, you're like, am I alive? Am I still there? Do I still have my body? Is anyone breaking into my house? And yes, there's this iPhone app you can actually buy, which monitors your health, like beep, beep, beep. And if, at some point, you can log in and see what happened. And yes, we will monetize logout. If you want to vanish from the world, really, you have to pay, because that logout actually costs money. So when you think about that, you have to protect your possession all the time, your creations all the time. You should better start thinking about building defenses. And yes, you can basically go where the portal is and dig out everything underneath the portal, so everybody who enters the portal falls down and dies. You can do that if you want to, sure. But there's this floating spell where they don't die if they do this. So you can build traps and everything. We can sell traps, of course, really cool traps, so everybody who wants to enter your world is actually in danger. So what did I actually do, right? So the first thing is that I subjugated Minecraft to free-to-play requirements, which we all know there is. Most top-grossing games in the App Store are all online persistent games, all of them. There's literally no exception. I created a little bit more item progression because we need that to actually get the player lifetime. We want to have the players playing for years, not for weeks. That's the key success, as Lauren also said, in EverQuest or any online game. That players play that for years. They no longer play. It's actually starting to get their hobby, to be their hobby. I created conflict. There's always danger around the corner. You can actually die. It promotes forming of social groups for defense. So if players get together and defend themselves, they basically have an advantage. That's the nature how human beings actually founded cities, because they're better protected. And this is exactly what I'm doing here. Yes, with 10 people you can build better defenses to defend against other players, until 50 people come in and invade your city and just destroy everything. It also promotes human stories. The humans just create the most interesting stories. This is exactly what I want to see here. All the videos and things and how you died and oh my God, they invaded my world and just flattened everything. There were 2 players coming in, destroyed my city and made a penis on it. And whatever they can do. There are hundreds of videos of this on YouTube. You can see this. It's actually the first thing I think Minecraft players build is a penis. It opens up plenty of monetization opportunities because putting people in real danger actually makes them spend money a bit more. It's a connected player base. It's easier to find other players to play with and against. It's easier to basically find servers. On Minecraft it's really hard. You have to type in an IP and then connect, and if you don't have a password you simply can't go. There's no really connected world, but in here it is. You basically you just log in and bam, you're in some world, and all the worlds are connected by default. And this is something what I call conflict guidance. So slowly players are actually guided to fight against other players. So defending your creations is one of the goals. So what we actually can do here, the monetization opportunities I marked are just written here. So expanding trade limits, item maintenance if they break or if you want to buff it, and loot optimizer through premium accounts so you get actually more loot. Inventory size, the coins you buy and trade with. Shiny tools, which are better than the ones you can build. Dead body protection, so if you die, you basically can return safely for 5 minutes. If you don't, someone can take your stuff. Instant respawn, crafting in terms of time and quality you can improve. Superior items, so instead of crafting that sort, you can buy one in the shop because you might not have the time to actually do that. A portal blocker, so there's a portal, you can actually apply the portal blocker and the portal is turned off for like 1 day. So you're basically safe. So you can make your world safe by paying daily fees to the portal. A local player ban. So if there's this griefer coming to your world all the time building penises on your building, you can actually ban him from your world, for a week. And you just pay that an evil player is no longer entering your world. So that means that evil players actually make money for you. This is basically one of the goals, right? So 10 assholes can make 100 players, ban them from all their worlds, and that's really cool. That's a good money income, I guess. Private servers, this is an obvious thing Laralyn also said, is that if you want to really keep your peace, you basically pay a monthly fee and you have your own private server. That's it. Instant logout, as I said, world travel, and the defenses. Now, I told you that there are different motivations to actually buy stuff, and what we basically do is that we line all the stuff we want to monetize up and divide them into categories, and one of the categories is something called battle types. Richard Bartels, said there are like 4 roles people in online games do, and this is basically what it did here. So all the stuff I monetize are divided into the killer, socializer, achiever, and explorer, and do we have enough items for all these major player roles, yes or no? And I say yes, we have, meaning that for whatever motivation you go into the shop, you will find something to buy, which actually helps you enjoying this game. The other thing you should do is that you should look that you always have something to buy independent of player progress. There's, there's basically unlimited spending patterns. I have to make sure that someone who is in day 1 in my game and want to spend €1,000, if he really wants to do that, let him do that and let him sell or buy meaningful items. So that's in a nutshell what I did to do Evil Minecraft. Thank you for listening.
Richard, could you raise your hand real quick for a second? It's so funny that Richard Bartle's actually sitting in the audience watching you tweet. You're a mentor. So, here's how it's going to work. Everybody did well, but there can only be one winner. I'm going to put my Cartman hand over somebody, and I want you to cheer as loud as you can for the concept that you liked the best. This is the most evil game designer. Teut. Laralyn. Ben Cousins. Okay, this is so close. Let's try by show of hands. Please only vote for one. Teut. All right, put your hands down, please. Laralyn. I think it's Toy. Ben. Yeah, I think it's Toy. Does anyone disagree with that? Maybe, but I think it's Toy. So, first we have a bag of gears for building death rays to torment players. In second place, we have a ray gun that is also a coffee mug. That's very evil. And it was so close. I wish I had two, but I've only got one. The Casual Games Association White Cat Award for Excellence in Game Design goes to Teut WEIDEMANN. Thank you, everybody.